meeting, so just one more second. So it's queuing up right now. So
Hi, today is June 14th, 2023, and my name is Amy Paretsky, and I'm the chair of the Design Review Committee. This open meeting of the Design Review Committee is being conducted remotely pursuant to the Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law March 29th, 2023. All members of the Design Review Committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The act allows the Design Review Committee to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda, unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation. This meeting will not feature public comment. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Lisa Maselli?
Here.
Dave Varon?
Here.
And staff, when I call your name, Lori Connors?
here.
And Amy Paretsky is here. The chair will invite each speaker or applicant on the agenda by name to make a presentation and speak to their application. Participants will provide their full name and hold until their name is called. Each speaker will be asked to mute their phone or computer when not speaking and to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate meeting minutes. Those responding will be asked to wait until the floor is yielded to them by the chair. Speakers who wish to respond to the comments of others do so through the chair, taking care to identify themselves. Each vote will be taken by roll call vote. It is now 8:42. And first on our agenda, I was going to do our minutes, but since Dario isn't here, I'll start with the applicant since he is here. The applicant today is for 129 Maple Street, David Cooley. And I would like to ask who would be speaking on your behalf today? Would you like to do a little presentation?
So, good morning,
go ahead.
everyone.
You guys want to introduce yourself?
Yep. So, Justin Leclaire, McCarty Engineering. Ignore that says Patrick McCarty. He is going to be joining us. He's just currently finishing up a meeting right now. Also on with us is Jay Gallant of Gallant Architecture. He'll be speaking towards the architectural plans at that point in the presentation. So if you want, I can share my screen to bring up the site plan.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Just bear with me 1 minute. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Perfect, thank you. So I said Justin Leclaire, McCarty Engineering, here today on behalf of Mr. David Cooley for the proposed multifamily structure located at 129 Maple Street. So the existing parcel was previously the location of a multifamily home that was severely damaged in a fire back in September of 2021. As part of this project, the applicant is proposing to demolish the existing building, sorry about that, which you can see in the light gray, and propose a new 5-unit multifamily dwelling along with associated parking fields with 5 spaces located here on the southern side and 4 spaces here located on the northern side. These parking fields and parking spaces will be according to the town Northborough zoning bylaws. Additionally, landscaping is being proposed along Maple Street. This will consist of a mix of white spruce, dogwoods, and Hinoki cypress. And then just to give you guys some background, the applicant did file a zone determination with the building department, and he received that back stating that we were required to file a special permit through ZBA. So back in May, we did put the ZBA application together, and that was filed with them. And we do have a ZBA hearing coming up with them, I believe, at the end of this month. We also did receive a response to comment letter from Lori that was dated June 1st, and we are currently working on responding to those comments as well. So at this point, that's really it on the site side. And if Jay, if you want to take over and either bring up your architectural plans, or I can bring up the ones that we did submit as part of the ZBA package, whatever works best for you.
I can bring up some new ones. I think you have to unshare or do something. Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
All right, so I'm just gonna call up. Of course, I've got too many things open. All right, here we go. Can you guys see this?
yep.
All right, so there's a floor plan. So as we've been talking about, this is a 5-unit building, proposed 5-unit building, essentially townhouse style with pretty simple 1-bedroom. So it's a 5-bedroom septic system. So we're limited to 5 bedrooms total. So a better view of the exterior is this. So the idea is a pretty straightforward building. I don't have a good picture of the existing building. Everybody knows what it looks like, right? Not good. So so this is intended to be in keeping with the other properties in the neighborhood, similar scale to single family home, but providing an opportunity for 5 individual units. And as Justin's saying, we've addressed parking and all the other concerns that have come up. Also trying to keep it simple in terms of siding and roofing and exterior materials. So this is the general palette for the exterior. Vinyl siding, CertainTeed Main Street is likely the make and model. We're gonna board sort of otherwise we're open to is and this white trim, PVC vinyl, trying to keep it low maintenance. And then for roofing, just a fairly standard architectural shingle. We can talk about whether it should have a particular style like this, or whether it should just be standard architectural shingles. I just put this together for this discussion, but open to whatever we'd like to talk about in the design review.
Okay. Thanks. Lori, should we start by going through your memo? There were some comments that had to do with the design review committee.
By
Sure.
the way, can I just interrupt real quick? It's a multifamily building. It's not intended to be, condominiums or anything like that. It's a 5-unit building. Sorry about that.
So there'll be one owner who's
One owner,
renting them
correct,
out,
yes,
like
one owner.
apartments.
And apartments, yes. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Did you look into building it like it was originally, one big building with the 5 apartments inside versus 5 townhouses? Or
Did we
this,
look into it? Technically, yes. This is much more straightforward to do it this way. 5 units in one building brings up a lot of building code things. It becomes more of a commercial building, anything more than 2 family. So that opens up a lot of other things. So we were trying to keep it simple with something like this.
okay. I just know this is design review, but I was thinking, because I'm on the planning board, zoning way, for non-conforming to non-conforming, it was one big
Mhm.
antique building with 5 apartments, and this is now 5 single-family units. So that was just one thing I was thinking about, but today is really about design review, so I guess.
Yeah, I apologize. I was actually out of the country for that meeting. I would have made a lot of other things clear that weren't certain. I know Lori did the best that they can, but there was definitely a lot of confusion and a lot of mixed use. If I knew that it was gonna, portray to that, then I would have probably set one of my counterparts up. But obviously we'll stick to the design review, and when we come to the ZBA, then we'll address those. But I apologize. I was out of the country, but there was a lot of miscommunication and misconcept, but we'll address that at the ZBA. That's no problem at all. But I want to get into it because I know that you're curious about it, Amy, but I don't.
Yep.
I want to stick to the design review stuff, and we'll just push on, and I can certainly address that during that meeting because, like I said, I wasn't available. I was out of the country, and I didn't realize some of that was going to be brought up, or I would have had one of these guys, speak for me. But I think we should just continue on with the design review stuff, and we can address those issues that you had the last meeting in an itemized list, and we'll just push on from there.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Should we start with landscaping since, Dario isn't here to talk about the building, and then we can talk about the building?
Yeah.
Should I stop my share?
Yeah, can you bring up the, whoever had the landscaping plan, can you bring that back up?
Yep.
Should we let Bob Federico in the meeting? Something that says.
Yep, I let him in.
Oh,
I think
thank
he
you.
must have had an issue before.
All right, everyone can see this?
Yes.
Okay. Oop. Yeah, I'll zoom in a little bit more so we can get more in the front. So we do have an in-house landscape architect. The initial thought with the landscape plan was we did want to provide a level of screening of the 5 units from Maple Street. So over here, we're proposing a spruce, and then around the parking fields here, we are proposing the northern bayberries, both here and here. And then in the middle is the mix of the dogwoods and the Hinoki cypress. So the dogwoods do consist of the Chinese dogwood and the Santomi dogwood. I know one of Lori's comments was to consider potentially foundation plantings around the proposed multifamily dwelling. I'm currently working with our landscape architect to come up with a viable solution for that, but it is something that we are open to. We just, if the design review committee has a preference that they like to see for plantings there, we can incorporate that. We just didn't want to show something that was out of scale to what the building is, or something that the design review committee preferably doesn't like. So whatever, however you guys feel about that.
How tall are the trees on the front? They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So the spruce will approximately 8 feet in height. The cypress will be 7 feet in height. And then the dogwoods, I'm not sure what their full mature height would be, but we have used them in other projects as screening from streets, and our towns have liked that idea. So we think it's reasonable to propose those here.
Okay, so the 7 to 8 feet are what is going to be planted, not what they're going to grow to.
Yes, and I do apologize, I'm not a landscape architect, so I will do the best I can to answer them.
And it looks like you added a walkway in front of the
Yes.
building.
Yeah, so just to provide a distinct path from the parking fields to each individual unit. So you pull in, you have your parking spaces over here, and then this would be your walkway that connects between the 2 parking spaces, but also to each individual unit. So in regards to the foundation plantings comment, we could potentially put some here. This is the sprinkler room, so we can screen this as well, in addition to what's being screened from the street. And we could propose some foundation plantings in between the units.
Mhm.
What's
Okay.
the space? What's the space? I can't really see the I'm on an iPad here, so.
Yeah.
What's your space between the walkway and the actual buildings? I know it varies back and forth here.
Let me, you might give me a second, I can pull up the actual. I believe we tried to give 5 feet where we could. And then obviously with the units being offset from each other, you have a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on which unit you're at.
I thought it was 5 and 7 feet, or between 5 and 7. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
on the plan. Which
And
is
what was
typical for, you know, a bed in front of a, you know, a house or a building or whatnot.
And what was the hesitation in doing any foundation planting?
Just not either putting in too much, too little in specifically species. With the areas in between here, you can put foundation plantings, but it's more just not knowing what type of preference the town likes to see there. We didn't want to put something that was completely not in the realm of what you guys like to see. And with the small areas, sometimes either the applicant, the town preferred to see that left as grass, left as bark mulch, or they do want to see foundation planting. So we went with the idea that we could keep it natural or put mulch down. But if the town did raise a concern or a recommendation to look at foundation plantings, we could easily provide something. So when we saw that comment come back in the comment letter from Lori, we went, okay, we'll look at putting some sort of foundation plantings down.
Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with a very rectilinear form, what I see from, you know, your section elevation there.
Yeah,
Not from the plan view. I mean, offset by a couple feet there. My general thing is, yes, you have some street planting there, but you know, you can always take that walkway, pull it another couple feet if you have to forward. But I would throw in some planting, let your landscape architect have a field day out of it and put something in and always spruce something up and go for it. I mean, just be creative. I'm not going to tell him how to do the job, but just be creative.
yeah. And when he did see the comment, he was happy. So I think he'll be even more ecstatic that he can get a little bit more play to put something in there.
And he doesn't have to do an ROF, which is ring around the foundation. Just be creative. Go for it. Have fun.
Okay.
I see Bob's hand is up. Sure.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I apologize for being late. In terms of the building code and the fire safety code, I'm gonna have to do a little digging, but I believe an 18-inch perimeter of non-combustible is required around the foundations in the buildings. You know, so, you know, putting mulch right up against the foundation is I think going to be a fire code or a building code issue. So typically what people will do is they'll put a layer of stone in or something like that, something non-combustible, and then they begin their planting. So just keep that in mind when you do your designs. I understand it's a kind of conundrum with the design and landscaping and stuff, but you know, if it's a building code or a fire code, you know, we kind of have to stick to that. Thank you.
I think, Bob,
Thank
you
you,
are
Bob.
correct in that one. For this, if that falls into the commercial zone with this one, you are correct.
So it's for a commercial, not a, if you were in a single family, you wouldn't have to do that?
If you were in a single family detached home, you wouldn't have to do that. In a commercial setting or multifamily setting such as this, I believe that is the rule. You know, we've had, you know, several mulch fires over the years. We've lost a couple of houses in town, single family detached houses that were caused from, you know, careless disposal in a mulch pile, or actually too thick mulch, and it spontaneously combusted and literally burned the house down.
Mhm.
Once it got up behind the siding. So the state code doesn't require it in a single family detached residence, but in a commercial it does.
Okay, thanks.
So are we looking at this as a commercial building? Is that what you're saying, Bob? Being a multifamily? or-
Under the building code, it qualifies as a non-resident, non 1 and 2 family building. Okay, this qualifies as it's gonna have to be built under the guise of the building code and not the residential code.
Okay. And can I ask a couple of questions then? I'm looking at it looks to me like the broken line that kind of comes up at an angle and goes on the backside. Is that a lot line? Are these like the driveway going to the lot line where, not the driveway, I'm sorry, but the parking areas? Do they go
This-
directly to the lot line?
This line here?
Yes.
Yes, so that is the property line. Mr. Cooley does own all the parcels within this little section, so he owns this one that we're talking about now, and he does own the adjacent one here and the adjacent one here.
Okay.
So you can see the light gray. I'm gonna try and zoom in on this a little bit more. So you can see the light gray line here is the existing parking area. And then the dark, where we have the number 5, is the proposed.
All right. And since it's changed its configuration, I noticed in the photograph before that had the superimposed 5 buildings on the lawn, that to the east side of the property, if you can actually get back to that, can you just quickly toggle back to that picture?
The rendering one,
Yes.
let's see if, I don't know if I have it in the original.
Well, that's good enough. You can still see it on the bottom.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean,
all right, so when I'm looking after that large, whatever type of greenery it is, gravel, is that Omaha Drive where that gravel is?
right over here.
No, I'm sorry, on the other side.
Oh, here?
Is that Omaha Drive right there?
No, that is. Oh, a little bit too much.
All
That
right,
is this existing driveway. And then it's a little faint on the screen, but there's a gray dash line that comes all the way up to this existing shed back here.
okay, all right. All right, and so the trees that you have in the front, the
Yep.
5, when it's on the screen, it's pretty tiny. Those are the ones that you talked about. Are those the dogwood?
Yes, this is the spruce over here on the left-hand side.
Is that the existing one?
Nope, this is a proposed one to provide screening on the corner of Johnson and Maple. And then these are the proposed mix of dogwood and the cypress.
All right. And will you do anything in landscaping in between them, or are they just going to be put in the grass?
Our idea was that we wouldn't do anything in between them, just the reason being at the full maturity of everything, it would be a lot, the maintenance of it. It will be lawn that's mowed. It'll be lawn that's mowed in between, but in regards to plantings, we weren't proposing any.
All right. So, and then there'll be, I would imagine that you'd have something around the tree trunks, because you can't, it's not easy to mow grass next to the tree trunks. So you,
Yeah, it ideally a mulch ring.
yeah. Okay. I guess I should ask Bob, because I don't have any figures here, but is the new layout of land creating a problem with setbacks and stuff for the building on the land? Am I making my question right?
The setbacks seem to conform.
The setbacks conform to the new areas?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Are you gonna come back again with some other detail, or is this gonna be well, it should be 2 meetings, right, Amy?
Usually if we need it. I had a question though about the land. I thought this was one parcel, not three separate parcels. I know I thought this was all combined into one parcel.
So between us, the applicant and the town, that's currently being figured out. So at this point, I'd prefer not to speak to that until it's figured out on the legal end.
Okay, well, wasn't there the deed updated or to combine them? I know you don't want to speak to it, but what does the deed say right now?
So back in October, there was a plan that was recorded that showed the parcels together. In
Yeah.
April, there's 3 separate plans that were recorded with the registry that show them separate. So based on the most recent recorded plans, the parcels are separated.
Would that have needed an A&R, Lori, to re-separate them?
That is my understanding. Planning board would need to separate the lots.
Right, because you just can't go back and forth without. That's confusing. Because I actually, when I reviewed this, thought it was all one lot. And now wondering what's gonna happen on the back lot. If this is gonna be separated out. And I'm looking at it in a different light, I guess, is what I'm saying. 20,000 square feet to have 5 townhouses in a residential neighborhood. But I'd have to go back and look at that. That's more of a zoning thing. But as far as landscaping, do you have any questions, Lori or Bob?
You know, I have one suggestion, and I kind of grappled going back and forth whether I should include it in my comment letter or not. My suggestion is that because there's a back door to these units, including some sort of patio, I think it would be a benefit for the residents who live in this development. It would be an amenity to either have a deck or a patio. Probably the cheaper option is to do a patio so people can grill out their back instead of just having grass at the back door. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, that's something we can talk between myself, Jay, and David on coming up with a viable solution for the back of the units.
That's fine to do. Luckily, I know a contractor that builds patios. So that's perfectly acceptable. I know Lori mentioned that to me before and I forgot to mention it to you, but yep, that's no problem. Probably figure out, 15 by 15 or something along that lines, but we'll make something happen. That's no problem.
Then the large tree in the front, is that gone or? I haven't been by this house in a while. I remember when it caught fire, but that's it.
Yeah, that was actually damaged, split in the fire, and we didn't realize it. And I had some guys, working there trying to cut the lawn and clean up the area. Just, we haven't demoed the property yet, just to, be safe. There was a large crack right down the middle, so that tree has been removed due to the fire. That was actually right on the fire side, pretty close to the building. So that was cracked due to the fire. So that is gone, just so you know.
Okay.
And before we get off of landscaping, what's the material that you're going to use for your walkway between the 2 parking spaces?
Those would be just pavers, standard, walkway pavers, block, multicolor. We can specify that in the next meeting if you'd like, but be most likely, granite steps with a concrete paver walkway.
And are you planning to do any plantings in the back since there's 2 different properties now, are you going to do any screening from that side?
I think that's to be determined. I don't think we're going to do any plantings currently right now. I think there's 3 plantings around this entire multifamily. So I think anything that we can add to the front would be beneficial. As for the back.
Mark Larson.
Oh, will somebody say something?
Is that?
Oh, I thought I heard something. But as for out back right now, I guess we'll leave that to be determined until we figure out what the next protocol is.
Okay. Lori, would you like to go through your comment letter? I think it starts at number 9, or you can start before that.
Well, some of my comments have already been addressed.
Mhm.
Let's see. Of course, the underground utilities. So if you could, on the next version of the plan, denote the location of the transformers, and the boxes, and then screen those boxes so they look better.
Yep.
And then, of course, the question about waste disposal, are you proposing a dumpster for these units?
No, I believe the intent would be for individual totes, one for each unit. David,
Where
was
are
that
those-
kind?
Where are
Oh.
those gonna be stored since you don't have garages? So where are they gonna put their trash barrels?
We can look at providing a dedicated spot for the totes that could be screened back from both streets.
Would you like to see a dumpster there, Lori? A screened-in dumpster?
I'm fine with doing the totes. I just don't think it would look good to have a collection of totes just stored on the driveway somewhere. So if you could do some sort of pad and then fencing around there, if they're just gonna be totes instead of a dumpster, you probably don't have to go 6 foot high. So you could go with a shorter fence, but I would think it would look better because I honestly don't know how the people are gonna get the totes in and out if they don't have any sort of shed or garage or anything to store them. Then they're just gonna be in the front yard.
Yep.
Okay, next comment is about lighting and photometric plan. So if you could provide some detail, of course, you have to demonstrate that you're not gonna have spillover of light into the street or into the abutting properties. So it shouldn't be hard, you've got a big parcel. And then if you could provide the cut sheets to show the design of the lighting, obviously residential scale, something decorative LED would be ideal. And of course, the full cutoff, your shields if you need them.
Yep, so we're currently working with our lighting consultant for residential type fixtures, dark sky compliant, no spillage. So we're just waiting to get that back from them.
Okay, good. And then the only other comment that I had is I was concerned about how these, so the parking space with the number 5 and
Yes,
then the parking space on the other side in the rear is gonna have a challenge backing out of the parking space. So if you could think about how you're gonna better facilitate turning around without that car having to drive over the grass.
yeah, as part of the revised plan set, we'll provide some low turnout, just so cars backing out do have the ability to swing and turn.
Great. And are you, well, I suppose if you have this lot configuration, then you have no choice but to do your parking this way. But if you do decide to combine the parcels, then I think it gives you more options for the parking. Personally, I think it would look better just to have one large parking lot and then screen it versus the 2 curb cuts. But that's my personal opinion. I don't know if the.
Yeah, so we did try to look at making one parking field. The problem is the existing one over here isn't compliant to the bylaws in regards to drive aisle widths, actual parking stall size, where they were physically parking. So to make a compliant one that has the Aqua Drive aisles, the 9x18 parking stalls. We did have to split it up, and we didn't want to come over the middle because of the existing septic system, trying to screen that from Maple Street as well. So by using the two existing curb cuts that are already there, we were able to make it work. Obviously, wanting to put as many parking stalls as we could on this side of the plan compared to over here. So that's just the thought process of how we got to this layout.
That's all I have.
Okay, would the board like to look at, it sounds like they're gonna have to come back with changes to include the patio and the plantings and the screening for the totes and the lighting. Would you like to go into the housing right now? We'll look at the, or wait until next meeting when Dario could be here. It's up to the board. Or do you want to look at it fast, see if we have any comments, but also let the applicant know that if Dario is at the next meeting, he's an architect, he might have additional comments.
I do think we have to, I think he brings a good mix to the group of questions. We could look at them quickly, but not be held to anything at this point because he's the one that comes along with a lot of detail.
Right. Okay, do you want to pull up your, the picture of the exterior of the house?
So Jay, I'm not sharing, you should be good.
The
to-
picture, yeah, just the rendering?
Yeah,
Sure. I'm gonna go to, that's a little more clear, right?
Yeah. All right, so we talk about the type of windows and the type of siding and the coloring and the roof in more detail. Are you doing black on the windows, or is that just the way the
That
photograph?
I didn't really render the window. I think we were planning on white, right, Dave? Or did we really?
Yeah, we're
talk
gonna
about-
do, yeah, white, sorry.
Okay, yeah, so pretty much white for all the trim and the windows.
Okay. And when you have like your gutter system coming, is it going to each have down gutters for each unit, or is it going to be one long piece and then one gutter on either side?
Because it is stag, the roofs are back also, we would probably have individual gutters and downspouts for each unit.
And then each one of the porticos or the pieces over the doors. If you could show us detail on the pillars and what they'll look like, and from, front and side view.
Probably something similar, similar language to this, if that's acceptable, trying to keep, square with maybe a 1x4 at the top and a 1x6 at the bottom, something like that. But we can call all that out on plans and elevations.
Okay, that's good, because as you see from the photograph, again, that's got the black windows, but your lights that are also on there in that style.
Gotcha, yes, okay, all right. So the submittal will just be for this building and what we're using on this building, right?
Oh, I would think. It's just normally with it's much more detailed, and we get into a lot of different things about the style of the pillars and that sort of thing. So that's fine, as long
Right.
as we'll talk about it when Dario's here. And just
So basically, door style, window style, pillar style, just everything, all the materials, the building materials, everything that you're doing, shingles, just write down the whole palette of everything that you're doing for the building.
Okay,
and that's on the legend. And then just a quick question, what was the date? Do you know what the date of this house was? The original date?
when it was built or when the fire was?
No, when it was built?
Dave, 18
I think it
something?
was from 1849,
49.
because I had to go in front of the historic committee, which I already have approval to demo it. I'm sure on the exact date, I think it was 1840 something.
Sounds right.
Interesting. All right, great. I would be happier with Dario to ask more of the questions.
okay. All right, So it sounds like you'll be back in front of us next month, which is July 13th, with your updated version, which included the patio, the walkway, the building type, like Dave just mentioned, all the windows and the doors, screening for the dumpster or the totes, additional planning, lighting. Is there anything I left out?
Yeah, well, and you know, the detail in the windows, if they're double hung, they're single hung, those are things that are usually questioned and listed.
Okay.
Hey, Justin, can you pull back up the plan that shows, you know, the lot with the driveways and stuff? I just want to get
Yep.
Lori's sense on if I decide that I want to put a dumpster where she thinks that it would be suitable, and also ask the board if they think that that would be an okay solution. So if, just so we don't have to go back and forth again, if I end up deciding that I want to put, you know, a 3 or 5 yard dumpster here, is there any comments or concerns of where you would like to see that placed?
Well, of course, most people would put it somewhere in the parking lot. So what we typically see is you extend the parking lot and then you put a dumpster pad. So I know for the 78 West Main Street, they provided a combination of like a little turnaround space as well as the dumpster accommodation right next to each other. So that way the garbage truck, when they empty the dumpster, they can back right in and then exit the site easily. So of course, screening is super important so that, you know, it looks good.
All right, no problem. We'll come up with something. Thank you.
If you end up doing totes, then you can probably put it up against a side of the building and then kind of screen it that way, and then provide a walkway so that people can move their totes into position. So you won't have to provide the facilitation for the garbage truck to enter the site. It would just be the people moving the totes to the curb.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
You folks
Man.
decide which you prefer.
Yes, you guys get to decide what you prefer, but to me, I mean, I think I would rather the totes if I was a neighbor. Because if you have a dumpster there and you have a truck backing up, and I don't know which collects animals more, does it sit longer in the dumpster? I don't know.
And
We're
how,
usually 2-week rotations. My other buildings that I own in town are on 2-week rotations, so every 2 weeks the trash gets picked up.
So that's longer than if they had totes.
But
You
it's
know.
more, but a dumpster is a lot more of a secured area than a
Yeah.
tote. A tote can get, you know, you got these, you know, dangerous animals out there, can get broken into at any moment. It's a screened in, you know, area with a dumpster is pretty bear resistant.
all right then, I'm,
Okay. All right, well, we'll see you
All
July.
right, well, yeah, thank you. I appreciate the time. We'll take in what you guys said into consideration, and we will adjust everything that needs to be adjusted for the next meeting, and we'll go from there.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Lisa and Dave, I reviewed the February and the April minutes. I definitely would love to go, the February ones are really old. If we want to wait for April for Dario, we can do that, but I didn't see any problems with April either. Did both of you have a chance to look at the minutes at all?
I did last night and I compared them. I watched the video too for transcripts. So, yeah, pretty much it's fine. Some of the stuff that was said, that was interesting on February 9th, in the discussion of what the actual square footage of the 78 West Main Street was going to be. I thought I heard, and that's why I didn't ask to have it changed. I thought I heard that they were going to add 2,600 square feet to the building. Do we know if that's true or if that was just my hearing the video wrong?
I don't remember.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's on the site plan.
Check that out.
They had actually submitted a companion document that had all of the existing versus proposed square footage. It was like a Word document. I think it might have been, you know, kind of like a listing.
Okay,
I can email that to you if.
great, yeah. Because it's funny, looking at size and where placement is in size, you really want to kind of get a yardstick of how big it is and what space it's going into and such. We should have asked David Cooley for an elevation because there was no elevation for anything, was there? Was there? Maybe.
There was elevation plans in the packet.
And we could talk about that next time. Yeah, and I think there might be.
Yeah, it's A3 and A4.
A4 looks like the plantings. Yeah, A3, I don't see an elevation on one. Oh, maybe it's just sheet numbers, an A different, right, in the back?
Lori's holding it up.
Hold on,
A3.
I got it.
All right.
Back in my blurry vision area, out nowhere. All right,
Okay, so is everybody okay with the February minutes?
I'm okay with them. Dave, you okay?
Sounds good to me.
I don't have the date. Was it February 9th?
Yes, February 9th, 2023.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the February 9th, 2023 minutes?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
okay. Roll call vote, Lisa Maselli,
Aye.
Dave Aaron,
Aye.
and I'm an aye, so those minutes are approved. So should we approve the April ones without Dario? I mean, I thought they looked good.
Yeah.
What's the date of the April ones, Lisa?
April 13th.
April 13th.
So I think where we had the double meeting because we were having technical difficulty. Is that the right one?
Oh, I don't know.
That's where we got kicked off, I think.
Don't
That was a fun meeting.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the April 11th, 2023 minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, Lisa Maselli,
Aye.
Dave Aaron,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. The meeting minutes are approved. And that's all on our agenda for today.
Cool.
So we'll see you guys July 13th. And we'll finish off 129 Maple. We'll probably have the ice cream people back. And was there a third one? Oh, 343 Hudson. Okay.
And then I have to recuse myself because I'm doing the landscape for that one.
Oh, okay.
So, but I'll be here, obviously.
Okay, thanks. And
Okay.
Bob, did I hear that, and you don't have to say Dave if you don't want to, but did I hear the downtown, the Bank of America, the building next to Bank of America might be opening soon, or?
We had an inquiry about another bank moving into that location. It's in the very preliminary stages. It might need some minor site plan review. But I guess there is some sort of movement about occupying that space.
Oh,
That's
okay.
good.
How about the building next door, the old Lowe's building? Are they finishing up?
I hope so. They're planting flowers out front, so I'm gonna have to give them a call and see what their intent is.
Okay.
I'd love to see
When did-
cars in that parking lot,
Yeah, that's been, was it a 3-year project so far?
but for the Lowe's variety,
Yeah,
no, 10.
I don't know if it's 10, but it's been a while.
On my first tour of duty through Northborough back in 2013, 2014, I issued some of the first work permits for that building.
Wow.
It's been that
Okay.
long. There's been a whole list of contractor issues, administrative issues between the owner and contractors, and the architects. It's been a journey. And I'll leave
Still
it.
gonna be is it still gonna be a bridal shop and plastic surgeon, or is that changed too?
The current plan remains unchanged. Some sort of a bridal salon or bridal shop in the front, and some type of a medical office in the back of the building.
I can't believe it's been 10 years. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Time flies.
I had a lot more hair back then.
I was a lot younger.
How about 89 West Main Street? Is that one, I heard they're back in front of you a little, or no?
89 West Main Street has remained unchanged.
Okay,
We granted the conditional occupancies for the apartments up top because the contractor came into financial difficulties and wanted to get some cash flow moving out of the place. However, there were some issues with the site work around the building that was originally approved, and they had not done that. And I instructed the owners that 0 permits would be issued for the first floor until all of the site plan issues have been remedied.
Did
And
they,
it's- and it's, I'm sorry,
they giving you a time when they're gonna do that, or they just drop the ball?
they just dropped the ball.
So is there anything we can do? I mean, the landscaping out front's now looking even worse, a couple of odd-looking trees and dead plants.
Well, as with any special permit or anything like that, plantings and the requirements for those are in perpetuity. So we can always send them a report stating that, they've got some dead plants and they need to maintain that, what they have installed for landscaping.
All right, so at least maybe we'll get some.
There has been over the years, a bunch of people apply, or fill out a zoning interpretation form about different businesses going in there. The original business that was going to go in was some sort of a beauty salon. Evidently, obviously that didn't work. I've had a couple of people come in for a gymnasium. I've had some people come in for not veterinary, but doggy daycare, stuff like that. Because all of the issues out there are public knowledge, when I give them those issues for site plan and the no permits would be issued until they fix it, they walk away.
it's too bad, because we're looking for more commercial uses in the downtown.
Yeah, and the space is there. All they have
Yeah.
to do is correct the issues that weren't done according to the approved site plan.
Yeah,
And they're not minor issues either. They're fairly significant things that need to be done.
Yeah.
So I would not consider it a minor modification, or I can make that call. There's just too many of them and they're too significant, to ignore.
is there any way, like, say, are those apartments or condos, like, say, those flip hands that they can't be rented out again until, 'cause it seems like that's what brings in the money, is the residential. So
Yeah,
they have no incentive to do anything else.
right. They have occupancy, and if one becomes vacant, revoking occupancy is really not a viable option. Because there is occupancy in it and it does meet the basic safety codes and whatnot. So, because they're apartments, they're not condos. So, it's like you said, it's cash flow for the owners. And I don't know what the intentions of the owners are to do this. Every time I speak to them or hear from them, they say, yeah, we intend on fixing it. And it goes nowhere.
Yeah,
Can they be fined for not doing it?
No,
So there's nothing that can be done. They can just leave.
I don't think so.
Maybe we should find out what we can do, because that's, it's almost like, well, we didn't really care to have the businesses there. We're just really there to make money. So
Well, no landlord is going to do something if he's not going to make money.
like,
There isn't a developer out there that's going to do something out of the goodness of his heart.
No,
I know that's a cold statement, but that's why people have real estate on Route 20.
but we're not talking goodness, we're talking compliance.
Right. And he's not in compliance.
so that doesn't trigger the fines and violations?
Not in my book, not the way I see it. I could send a message to town council and see what he says,
Oh, okay,
but
Yeah.
I don't see much about it. The other thing is, if this discussion goes much more regarding 89 West Main Street, I would feel uncomfortable discussing that property without the ownership here.
okay, sure.
I just, if we're gonna discuss it, I think it's only fair that the owner is there.
Right. Do you
Because
think? he
actually, a
would
lot of
come
these
in?
questions that you're asking me, you could ask them directly and and get their response, which will
Yeah.
probably be the same response I've received.
Do you think they'd ever agree to come in? Like, because we can't force them to come in and talk either, right?
I don't know, you can spin the roulette wheel on that one.
I'd try it. I'd invite them, wouldn't you, Laurie? I mean,
If
at
you
least,
like me to, I can.
Well,
Sure.
it would have to be the special permit granting authority, which I think in this case was the ZBA.
It was the ZBA.
So, it's that board that they would have to communicate with.
Okay.
maybe we should facilitate something with them, Laurie, see what they think.
I can speak with the chair and see if he wants them to come in.
Yep.
Right.
Especially since it's downtown, revitalization and some commercial, businesses would really help.
Yeah, I can tell you that typically the occupancy permit is the hammer. I mean, that's how you get people to do what they're supposed to do. So fines don't work very well in a circumstance like this. It's typically the occupancy permit, and if they're not motivated to get the occupancy permit, then that's the problem. The town can't go in and complete the work itself because it's private property, unlike in a subdivision. So it kind of is what it is, and unfortunately, this is the way private development works.
Is
Is
there
it,
a way to ask town council if the occupancy permit for the apartments can be frozen if they turn over?
you could ask them.
They're already occupied. You can't kick those people out. Those are innocent people.
Oh, I know. I meant if there's a turnover.
Yeah, if
Not a
there's,
chance.
if there's an open apartment. Because again, that would create the incentive to say, okay, I'm not making my rent for that apartment. I'd rather than come, because you kind of set it back to the fact that if you hadn't given him the permits to go in for early, then he would have had to complete the job. And so I would think that there would be some redress, because if your intent is not to fix the building as a landlord, there's got to be some things that are legally responsible for him. So I would think they'd be better off than let it ride is to, make some inquiries. I mean, nobody knows what the end result of any of it will be, but it's better not to just leave it there. It's been a long time. And as Amy's saying, it's, a lot of the downtown revitalization plan, people look at that and it's kind of a black eye for everybody.
I think we'll have to be careful going forward with the downtown revitalization, because there's talk about mixed use, on Bleak Street or apartments on other streets. We should make sure that they don't get even their first occupancy permit until everything's done, until they've met their conditions. Because if we wait till the last apartment, then there's no incentive. Just an idea. And maybe we are already doing that. I know we've been making changes. Okay. That's about it, unless anyone else has any questions.
No, not right now.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Come on, Dave, you're.
Second? All right, roll call vote. Dave Aaron
Here.
and Lisa Maselli.
Aye.
All right, I'll see you guys in July.
All right.